Hello, thank you for tuning in to the Katy Sissine Show. It's Wednesday, so we're halfway through the week. Congratulations to you all out there for making it to Wednesday. Give yourselves a good pat on the back. And also thank you for tuning in to the Katy Sissine Show for another day, addressing the indoctrination of the American nation. Now, although that's not in the title, we can assume it's the American nation. And I'm Katy Sissine, your host, as always. Now, the last couple days we had guest speakers addressing the new immigration order by our President Donald Trump. And this immigration order establishes a temporary immigration pause from 7 particular Muslim countries, predominantly Muslim countries. And there has been much protest following this order, because it's a temporary, what they're calling it is a Muslim ban, because it's a temporary pause in immigration from these countries in order to establish, a better system of vetting, a stronger system of vetting in the United States. Now, there's been a lot of debate over this, and I think that's because the people that are debating this aren't well aware of the statistics. And even more so than that, the media has swayed them to believe that this is a Muslim ban. So due to their lack of researching statistics, which I will go over, I don't want to get ahead of myself. I wanted to share the statistics with you all now. But I'm going to wait just in case you haven't tuned into the last 2 episodes so you can have some kind of, anticipation here for something to look forward to. So this has caused so much debate, and Trump has even been sued for this order. He has been sued by Attorney General Bob Ferguson, among others. Bob Ferguson of Washington was the first state official to file a suit against Donald Trump, against the administration, I suppose, for this executive order. And he and other attorney generals think the refugee order is un-American and unlawful. Well, I came up with a good way to explain the justification for the vetting order on my last show, the immigration order, and that is America has every right to protect itself. And as a state, we should seek our national state security before the security of the entire world. And right now, everyone's caught in this notion that America needs to save the world, and that's a bunch of baloney, because we have people in America that are already citizens that are impoverished. So why would we try to save the whole world when we're still trying to save people that are already citizens of our nation? Now, the left says to this, well, it doesn't matter if we have people in our nation that aren't taken care of. We still should try to save, people in turmoil as well as we can. And they're in support of doing this at risk of our own safety, at risk of our society's regression, due to possibly allowing the Muslim religious war to erupt on our soil. And as we know, there was just recently an attack on Quebec that goes to show that it's getting closer to home. And in the past, we had an attack in San Bernardino and others that shall remain nameless, because I don't have the names in front of me and I don't want to give incorrect information. So I'm very serious about making sure my information is accurate and precise for this show. Anyway, like I said, we're going to lawsuits. Bob Ferguson, Attorney General Bob Ferguson of Washington, Democrat, was the first to sue Trump, and others followed suit. Now, like I said, these people that are suing Trump, these attorney generals, think the Refugee Act is un-American, unlawful. I spoke my piece against that. But let's take into consideration, along with my other points, America is the most powerful state and must protect itself as so. We are not just a country or a state of the European Union. We are more like the European Union, except even greater, because we are just all around the strongest country in the world. So we're not like the EU in the sense that we should be more lenient in admitting refugees into our state, because we have more at stake, because the Muslim world has more against the Western world, and the home of the Western world, which is the United States, that spawned Americanization, that has spread globally due to globalization with the boom of technology. We are the global leaders. We are not We no longer have to be the global police. We don't have to be the global police. And we also do not have to be, and we will not be, under the Trump administration, the global guardian angels that take care of other nations' peoples before their own. Yes, we will be a guardian and a guardian angel to many people, and we have been, but we cannot save the world before we secure our own nation. We must secure our own nation and then move outward from there. It's just as comparable to a person loving themselves before they can love someone else. Now, I'm not a marriage counselor, but I know enough to know that. Now, anyway, let's go over some Twitter posts. You know, Trump has reported with promptness to the refugee ban and the reactions to it. The White House has reported that this is an order for the protection of the United States, which I completely, obviously agree with. Now let's go check out these Twitter posts. Chuck Schumer and Netanyahu. These all occurred within the same day, I believe. Donald J. Trump, at Real Donald Trump on Twitter, said if the ban were announced with a 1-week notice, the bad would rush into our country during that week. A lot of bad dudes out there. He is right. That's what we need to protect ourselves from, the bad. Now, we know that the Muslim population, the majority of Muslims are good people, of course, just like the majority of people in the world. But they're undergoing a religious war, and we have to understand that there are a lot of bad guys out there that are part of the religious war and part of the group, part of groups in relation to ISIS, in relation to other terrorist organizations, other Islamic terrorist organizations. Now we have Chuck Schumer, New York Democrat senator, who said, our greatest weapon will always be our values. That's what makes us strong. Hashtag no ban, no wall. Hashtag Muslim ban. Okay, so he hashtags no ban, no wall. So he's against the wall as well. And obviously he's against the Muslim ban, which the Muslim ban is just a derogatory term for the immigration order. It's not a Muslim ban by any stretch of the word. There are countries with Muslim citizens that are not a part of this ban. So let's just get that out there for the last time on my show. It's not a Muslim ban. If it were a Muslim ban, then we would ban all Muslim people that plan to enter this country. It's 7 particular countries that are in hostile conditions right now regarding the religious war that we don't want to let on our soil. What is Chuck Schumer talking about? He says our greatest weapon will always be our values. Okay, so what about protecting our values of being patriotic and being nationalistic and putting our nation first and protecting our nation's people? Because by protecting our nation's peoples, and this is a nation under God, Mr. Schumer. Do you remember, Mr. Schumer? This is a nation under God. Senator Schumer, I want to let you know that. Whether you like it or not, you live in a nation under God. You are a senator in a nation under God. And you're trying to ask me, you're trying to tell me on Twitter, our greatest weapon will always be our values, but yet you fail to want to support the protection of our values by helping us mitigate mitigate terrorism on American soil. You don't want to keep the religious war of Islam off of our soil, but yet you want to preach about our values. You don't know about our values, Chuck Schumer. You may know about some of our values, but you certainly don't know about nationalism. And that's what you need to remember here, Chuck Schumer, is nationalism. Because in the realist world that we are in today, Senator Schumer, we need a realist president, which is Mr. Donald Trump, who understands that a state must act in favor of its own national security, not international security. Anyway, then Schumer went on to say, America is at her best when she is a safe harbor in a world of stormy seas. ... He should have said after that, for its own citizens first and foremost, comma, then we may be a safe harbor for people of other nationalities who are in turmoil. Now, Mr. Schumer, We have impoverished people in the United States that are already citizens, Mr. Schumer. Alert. Earth to Mr. Schumer. Please, somebody tell him this, because I don't have the time to reach out to him right now. I wish I could get in touch with him, although he'd probably be busy thinking of establishing a new constitution for this country that takes away everyone's inalienable rights. Anyway, meanwhile, that same day or the day after, PM Netanyahu finally onto some good news, expressed thanks to Trump after an invite. Netanyahu said, "I deeply appreciate President Trump's kind invitation to come to Washington and the warm words about Israel." Now, Benjamin Netanyahu is no stranger to the dangers of the religious war. He has had many issues, experienced many issues firsthand with Palestinians and the culture, the Muslim culture, and the violence that has been associated with Muslim culture in especially recent years. Now, we are running out of time for this segment. We will return very shortly after commercials. Now, next we're going to get into refugees, the numbers, and the attacks. Have the attacks from refugees and from Muslims globally, have they been increasing as of late, or have they been decreasing? Just think on that. Don't look it up, don't Google it, but what would be your guess? Now, I know what my guess would be, and I found out I was right, but I won't reveal that now. I want to remind you guys to please, if you got to tune out right now, to please follow me on Twitter at Katy, FYNTV. And you can also catch the show live every morning at 10 a.m., Mondays to Fridays on FYNTV.com. And you can buy merch at FetcherNews.com. And you can email me with comments, questions, suggestions at Katy at Fetcher News. I'll be right back with you.
It's a new year, new you at Schottenkirk Ford Jasper. Ring in the new year with huge deals on a brand new Ford. Right now, get exceptional offers like 0% financing plus a $1,500 factory rebate on a new 2017 Ford F-150 XLT. Or get 0% financing plus a $1,000 factory rebate on a new 2017 Ford Explorer. Make your resolution a reality during the New Year, New You sales event at Schottenkirk Ford Jasper, home of the Schottenkirk Customer Guarantee. Visit us online at SchottenkirkFordJasper.com.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on site by our jewelers. And North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East Ellijay. Locally owned by Bill and Allison Craig, North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
El Rey in Ellijay.
El Rey Mexican Restaurant.
Family owned and operated and a local favorite for families, parties, and meetings.
Great prices.
Friendly service and delicious Mexican cuisine.
Patio dining available.
Come sing in Carlos's Cantina every Friday 9 to 1.
Eat in or take away.
Same location for 14 years. Open 7 days at the corner of Maddox Drive and 515. North Georgia's favorite Mexican cuisine. El Rey in Ellijay.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in Ellijay, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment, All of our paints are mixed on site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
What you gonna do with all that junk?
Hello, welcome back to the Katy Sissine Show. I'm your host, Katy Sissine. And on the last segment of this episode, we began talking about the lawsuits filed against President Trump. And the first lawsuit was filed by Attorney General Ferguson, and other generals followed suit after Ferguson filed a suit against Trump for the immigration order, which is a temporary pause of immigration from 7 particularly Muslim, majority Muslim countries, and that is being exercised in order to give the U.S. time to establish a stronger vetting system for immigrants from these respective countries in general, and he also announced that executive order along with another executive order about a week ago to strengthen and beef up our military with new everything. Give them the best of the best to make them the most efficient that they can be, which is what we need and what should be expected for the most powerful state in the entire world, the United States of America. Now, the attorney generals that sued Mr. Trump, they claimed that by putting in place the immigration order to ensure American national security to the utmost ability, the generals that sued him claimed that he was acting un-American and the order was essentially unlawful. How is protecting one's nation un-American? I mean, that's complete hypocrisy. Do they understand what's going on in the Muslim world? Do they understand that there's a religious war going on? Are they so blind to think that the religious war of Islam cannot pose a threat to the United States, an obviously predominantly Christian country that is founded under God? And do they know that there are Islams that have been preaching about their hatred and wanted destruction for the Western world for decades now, openly? Do they remember? Do they know? It just seems so unbelievable to me to think that they are unaware of these facts. So my response to that is either they're acting in order to cause hype in the left, or my other explanation is they are overly optimistic and everything has gone so well for them in life that they don't have a realistic perspective of the world, that maybe they've just been given, and I'd say, relatively almost everyone in the U.S. is given a silver spoon, but either they're acting or they've literally been extremely privileged and they're unaware of the realities of life and that bad things can happen. But being that Schumer and these other attorney generals are in government and they've seen bad things that can happen firsthand and they've witnessed the consequences, I'm sure that they're aware. So now I wonder if they're just playing up themselves as politicians here, because he definitely got some good publicity for himself with all the protesters that have followed suit of these attorney generals and the media calling out the immigration order as a Muslim ban. Yeah, sure. It's a temporary immigration block from select countries. It doesn't specify Muslims. It specifies select countries that the Obama administration already previously identified as terrorist threats. This was already diplomatically declared. Trump is simply taking military action. Trump is continuing the action of Obama with hard power. See, I explained in a past episode that Obama established the action against the Muslim world with soft power. He diplomatically declared the issues. But Trump is utilizing hard power, which actually gets work done if diplomatic power does not work, which it hasn't. So we're moving on to hard power. And everybody wants to say it's Trump, it's the Trump administration, but it's not. It's just the next step when diplomatic power doesn't work. And it just so happens that our last president never exceeded diplomatic power and got to the next step of militaristic power, which is hard power, which now has to be implemented by Trump. Yes, now Trump has to do the dirty work, so to speak, and get his hands dirty and get, you know, our soldiers' hands dirty, because not in the criminal sense, but you know what I mean. He has to do the hard work now, and really has to, you know, his administration has to get really strategic now and get in the game, because Obama was on the sidelines the whole time trying to be the coach. Sometimes you got to step in and, you know, step in and, you know, I don't know. He was on the sidelines basically. And right now, I guess Trump is the coach, and he's really coaching the team. He's coaching the U.S. on how to be Americans again and how to be nationalistic again. And that's a whole nother story. Everybody talks about how bad nationalism is. And I even had one guy that was bold enough to tell me on social media that nationalism, he said, Katy, nationalism is a figment of your imagination. Baloney. Baloney. Total baloney. I was actually sad for that person that they thought nationalism was a figment of my imagination, or could be of anyone's imagination. Anyway, he's obviously not aware of the numbers I'm about to go over here. So let's show this graph of the admittance of U.S. Muslim refugees in recent years. So as you can see, there's been an increase of Muslim refugee admittance, and in 2016, we saw that the Muslim refugees composed 46%, nearly half of the 85,000 refugees admitted in 2016. There were nearly 40,000 Muslim refugees admitted into the U.S. last year, some of which are inevitably associated with terrorist organizations, because that's just the nature of things, and that's just math. We can take that graph away. So the Obama administration, it let in a considerable number of Muslims. Last year, they composed half of the refugees admitted. And I have friends who are Muslim. I tutored a man from Saudi Arabia. In my second year of college, I tried to help him pass his classes. He went back to Saudi Arabia. He did not pass his classes in America. They were too difficult for him. But I did try to tutor him to my best abilities. I believe he failed for math-related courses and for literature courses. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. He and I were good friends. He was a very good person with a very good heart. He was not a terrorist. He was just a normal guy that believed in a higher power, just like I do, just like my fellow conservative friends do, just like many of my fellow liberal friends do. There are people of all nationalities, of all different demographics that believe in a higher power. My Muslim friends, I have another Muslim friend I met in Spain. I went to school with in Spain. It's more frequent to go to school with Muslims there than it is here. I went to school with several Muslims, with just with the whole European crew, a socialized group of people there, and I was exposed to their beliefs, and I respected their beliefs while I was there, and I believe that people should do the same when they're here in the United States. Anyway, that's a whole nother point. So I have friends who are Muslim, and they're not terrorists. Now, obviously, most of these Muslims that are coming in are great people. You know, if I have to put a number on it, probably 9 out of 10 are not affiliated with a terrorist organization. Now, let's be realistic here. Let's look at the facts. There's a decent percentage of Muslims that are associated with terrorist organizations, which means that of the Muslim refugees that have been increasingly let into the United Nations under the Obama administration, and that's refugees we're talking about, not all immigrants. So bear in mind, there's even more. Some of these people, sorry to tell you guys, sorry to tell the liberals out there that think it's all butterflies and rainbows apparently, some of them are terrorists and some of them are affiliated with terrorist organizations. I feel like I have to whisper that because if the wrong person hears me say it, they might just go into uproar and start a whole nother protest. And I certainly don't wish another campus to be demolished or have $100,000 and more of damage upon it, as we just saw at the Berkeley campus because of a libertarian speaker that was set to speak there, Milo. Well, that was outrageous. Now, I shouldn't have to whisper it, people. Some of those Muslims will be affiliated with terrorist organizations. It's a fact based on statistics. It's a correlation. And you can't disprove me on that. You just can't. Sorry about it. Muslim refugees' nationalities admitted in 2016. The statistics here are pretty interesting. Syrian and Somalian Muslim refugees comprise about half of the Muslim refugees that were admitted in the U.S. in 2016. Then Iraqis, then refugees from Burma, Afghanistan, and other states compose all the rest. So, I also have another graph that says nearly half of U.S. refugees in 2016 were from the Democratic Republic of Congo, Syria, and Burma, Myanmar. There's a graph there, and you see below Iraq, Somalia, Bhutan. So this is from the PEW research group, and the same as provided by the last chart. And we can take that graph away. Same type of information given there. Now let's go over terrorism and death attack rates. I like these graphs here. These are very beautiful graphs set up by The Economist and very informative graphs from The Economist. Let's put those the two graphs side by side. Here on our left, we see, it looks like these graphs are measured in thousands. We see global deaths from terrorism. The West is the smallest portion of global deaths from terrorism. They're at the very top in the green. But nonetheless, rates and deaths from global deaths and terrorism are on the rise in the West. The rest of the world follows. Then Syria and Afghanistan and Pakistan follows in global deaths from terrorism. And then Nigeria, and then Iraq. Now let's look on our right. Deaths caused by terrorist groups. Boko Haram leads the way. The ISIS state follows. Then the Taliban. And then the Al-Shabaab and the Fulani militants. So here we see clearly that deaths and attacks from terrorism have spiked worldwide. Now, why in the world are we trying to open our arms to predominantly Muslim refugees when deaths and attacks from terrorism from terrorist groups, Muslim terrorist groups, have severely spiked and are on the rise? Now let's take those graphs away. That's all the time we've got for today. I would like to thank y'all for tuning in to the show, The Katy Sissine Show. As always, addressing the indoctrination of the nation. Remember, it's your right to research and have an individual opinion based on facts and drawing your own conclusions. And I encourage you to do so on The Katy Sissine Show, as always. I'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Remember to follow me on Twitter at KatyFYNTV.